Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're going to be taking our first look at the new level 110 dungeon, Violet Hold. I just got a chance to do this dungeon yesterday on the Legion Alpha. I had a really good time with it, and I think one of the main reasons for that is because the dungeon really did kind of stay true to the original iteration of Violet Hold, which is, by the way, a level 80 dungeon back in Wrath of the Lich King. So if you guys don't know what Violet Hold is, it's kind of like the Dalaran jail for everything that I guess like, you can't put in a normal jail. So you got like a Frostworm, one of them tentacle boys, a pokey thing, and an abomination, among other bosses as well. And so you got this guy flying up around, and I think he's trying to summon different Legion reinforcements to kind of attack Dalaran. You guys might not know, but Dalaran is coming back in Legion as our main city, and so it kind of makes sense to have Violet Hold as a new dungeon again. And so what you're seeing right now is the entire dungeon. He's just going to be porting around the room, summoning different types of adds, and you have to kill the adds. After a certain amount of waves of adds, then you begin to fight the bosses. This is one of the different types of adds here. It's a Portal Guardian. He casts Mind Spike on you. Now, you can interrupt Mind Spike, but you want to make sure that you have somebody interrupting one of the other casts he does right there. Whatever that is, like a Shield of Eyes or whatever. Anyway, so you have to make sure you interrupt that. That's just an AoE ability. It deals damage to everybody in the group. Now, sometimes he casts this Mind Spike on secondary targets, not just the tank. I'm not really sure why, but you want to make sure that you can interrupt as many Mind Spikes as possible, and also be able to interrupt the eyes things, the AoE ability as well. Now, I'm going to go through all the different trash mobs, and then we're going to look at the bosses, by the way. I did 3 runs at this dungeon, and you guys got a little treat here. We got the fucking damage meters set up in alpha, so that's really great. I was able to download something that made me able to do that. So anyway, here's the next guy, Portal Keeper. He throws his little axe down. Guess what the fuck you don't do? You don't stand next to it. It's real easy. He also does this little slash thing. It deals, it applies a debuff to everybody that's nearby that reduces the healing that they take. It's very easy to deal with. That's basically all he does. This third guy right here, he's the coolest one, and he does 2 different things. He puts like one of those little like poison vats down, and basically if you're near it, you need to move away from it, or it pulls you into it. Also, he puts a debuff on the tank that makes the tank take, I think, 150% extra damage. There's the little vat right there, you guys can see. And the tank thing, all you have to do is dispel it. Your healer can dispel that. There it is. It's on me right now. And then, okay, I guess it didn't get dispelled. Okay, well, usually it did, because I had pretty good healers in this dungeon. Also, as well as not only just fighting, I guess like just like singular mobs, you fight a little packs of mobs. So right here, you've got like an Iridar Shadow Mender who actually didn't mend anything, okay? He basically just sat there and attacked me. Also, you've got that like, I guess like that Wrathguard guy, and he does a frontal cone, like shield attack. Really, all you have to do is make sure you're not standing in front of that. If you are, it doesn't fucking matter, because it doesn't do any damage anyway. And you've also got the little, dagger guys, or whatever, I don't know, like assassins, and they teleport over to different players and apply a poison debuff to them, so that needs to be either dispelled or healed through by your healer. This is the second set of trash packs, and or like little trash mobs here. The Blazing Infernal needs to be interrupted. He does, again, another AoE ability on your entire group, and he doesn't really do much else besides that. The Shadow Mender also casts, like, as you can see, a purple thing on the ground. Just make sure you move out of that. The trash packs are relatively easy to deal with. This is the first boss, Mind Flayer, who the fuck knows? So anyway, what you have to do with him is he puts little purple things on the ground. He does Shadow Crashes, just the same as General Vezix does in Ulduar. And so you need to make sure you don't get hit by those. And also, one of the main things he does, there's a Shadow Crash right there, is he casts Eternal Darkness. So this is very similar to the Cho'Gall effect in Bastion of Twilight, where you have to go around and kill all of the tentacles. Now, the tentacles basically channel something onto you. As you guys can see right here, they're channeling on everybody. And this is kind of like a soft enrage here, and the channel basically just deals damage to you. It doesn't really apply anything else, not to my knowledge at least. So you can basically, what we kind of opted to do was just kite the boss around the room and AoE the tentacles that were nearby the boss, and then ignore the ones that were too far away, because they were kind of hard to hit, and it was like kind of pathing issues. Also, Shivermoss is the second boss. Here's what you don't do as a tank. You don't fucking point a dragon towards the raid, because it kills the DPS. I should have known that 10 years ago. It's like, see, WoD, like, we didn't have any dragons. I lost my touch, okay? And so he also casts that Remorseless Winter or whatever. That's really easy to deal with as well. Relentless Storm. Just make sure you don't stand inside the purple, gray swirlies, whatever. Also, whenever he flies up to the top, he casts Ice Bomb. This is very similar to Syndragosa. Make sure you're at the top level, and if you're not at the top level, you're a fucking Ice Cube. And also, everybody knows exactly who fucked up, and it's that guy right there. Who is it? I can't read his name. But anyway, he's doing really good damage. We'll give him a pass. Anyway, so this is pretty much, this boss is pretty much rinse and repeat. The Frost Breath does a lot of damage, and so you got to make sure you've got a cooldown up for that. It almost killed me, but whenever I used Spell Reflection up for it, it was no big deal. Now we got Festerface. Now what you got to do with him is he casts Congealing Vomit. Now there's going to be 3 of these little green globs, and you have to cleave down the globs. As soon as one of the globs dies and Festerface is on top of it, he eats the glob back up, and if you don't do this, the globs do, I think it seems like increasingly more pulsing damage the longer they're alive, and so you need to make sure that you kite the boss around the room and basically just cleave down the globs and then make sure he's standing on top of the globs, and then he eats them, and then it's basically a rinse and repeat. It's very easy to do. We were thinking of actually positioning him right, I guess like facing towards a wall or something. That way all the globs would, because he does it in like a frontal cone kind of. So we thought like maybe if we could like position him like right, I guess like up against the wall, all the globs would just like kind of show up in the same spot. But honestly, being able to kite him around the room has its own benefits as well, especially if you don't really have that much healing. So there we go. Festerface is down. Not really too big of a deal. This boss was one of the easier ones, honestly. Most of these bosses, to be honest with you guys, the mini bosses were really not that hard to deal with. The Mind Flayer guy, the first boss, the Tentacle Boy, that one was kind of a cock in the ass. And we did one of the strats I like to use on a lot of bosses is just basically ignore mechanics and kill him. But whenever we tried to kill all the tentacles, we ended up kind of like running out of time. This is the next guy, a noob, who cares? And so he casts an ability called Mandible Strike. You need to make sure you have active mitigation up for that as a tank. It's very easy to deal with. As you guys can see, I didn't deal with it though. Also, he casts Impale. That looks really fucking cool, but you don't want to get hit by it. Make sure that whenever you cast Impale on you, you're not next to anybody else in the group, so it doesn't deal damage to anybody else except for you. He also casts Call of the Swarm. Now, basically, guess what this says? This calls the swarm. And what that means is pretty much little ads come around and you have to deal with the ads. Now, we didn't have to deal with the ads because we killed the boss so fast it didn't matter. But if you do, have them, I guess like you don't kill them that fast, you got to make sure that you dispel the debuffs from the ads, and you kill the ads as fast as you can, and it's basically rinse and repeat. This boss really wasn't too difficult to deal with, but honestly, we didn't really get to see too many of the mechanics. Now, these are going to be all of the mini bosses or secondary bosses that I've had a chance to do. I don't know if all of them are active. I don't know any of that stuff, and so I can't really be certain one way or another. So anyway, this is going to be the, I think this is the last boss here. So I didn't even know what it's like, I don't know, I'm blind or something like that. I couldn't even see him right there. See, like, you guys can see him, he's sitting right there, and I'm like, like, oh shit, right, because I didn't even see him. Okay, so Lord Maldath, this is like pretty much the last boss, and cast Shadow Bolt Volley. Guess what you do? You interrupt it. And then also he casts an ability called like Shadow Bomb or something like that. And pretty much what that does is it's basically just a damage onto the tank, and make sure that you just heal the tank up. It's not really too big of a deal. And then he also summons these little ads that basically it seems to me do nothing. So I wouldn't really worry too much about those. I think they could add in some more mechanics to this boss to really make it a lot more badass. But anyway, so after you kill him, it's like I thought this shit was over, and then fucking surprise, you got this big old motherfucker coming out of nowhere. I guess he came out of a portal, right? But it's kind of out of nowhere. It's a twisting nether. So anyway, the Fell Lord Barug, and this is pretty much the same guy as in what do you call it? I don't even remember, Hellfire Citadel. He casts that Fell Slash on you. That can go on any target, not just a tank. Make sure that whenever you have that on you, you're not standing in proximity to anybody else, or it will deal damage to them as well. He also casts Mighty Smash. Mighty Smash, basically, he grabs somebody, and then he's going to execute them, and you have to click these those two crystals that lock the player in place, and then the player has to move out of in front of the Fell Lord, and then there we go. We hit the crystals, and then before he finishes casting execution, he pushes everybody all the way over to the other side, then they have to run across. On normal mode, as you guys would probably assume, it's very easy to deal with. Also, another thing that you can do, yeah, see, here it is. I want to show you guys real quick. So he knocked you all the way across, and so as you guys can see with the cast bar, it's really no big deal to get all the way over there and just click the little pillar. See, I want to show you guys real quick. So there's a little a little gear here that you just click on the pillars, and it's not really too big of a deal. You want to make sure after, what do you call it, after you get clicked off. Oh, by the way, look at that. That's fucking pro, right? Because I just hop back, okay? Like, anyway, so that's probably a bug, right? But anyway, I thought it was really fun to do, and it basically completely negates the entire mechanic. And honestly, this boss only does one mechanic, so it negates the entire fight. Well, I guess he does that other thing, but that doesn't really matter because it doesn't do any damage. So anyway, that's the last boss, and then the dungeon is finished. Loot was unfortunately not implemented, and if I didn't say so before, we were scaled up to level 110 and item level 810 whenever we did this dungeon. I had a really good time doing it, and I hope you guys had a really good time watching. So if you're on Alpha, you might want to check it out, and until then, I guess that's pretty much all I got. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.